Welcome to All Things Deep Podcast Edition. And I'm your host, Sade, and tonight's topic is why they may never know your worth. Do you want to know why they may never know your worth? The real reason why? The real reason why is probably because you don't know your own damn worth. Let's just be honest. And I'm talking from experience here because I didn't know my damn worth. Now, that deserves a sip of wine. Because I know my worth now and I know the journey I had to go on and the lessons and the difficult situations I had to go through to be smacked upside the face to tell me I didn't know my worth. So, tonight's podcast is why they will never know your worth. And the real reason why is because a lot of people don't know their worth. Now, I was going to originally make this podcast about why men, will never know a woman's worth. But I was like, I'm really sick of all the woman and male stuff. Like, I really am. I'm just going to be honest with you. So, I'm just focusing this on why, and you could be a woman or a man watching this podcast, because what I'm about to talk about when it comes to knowing your worth, this is for anyone. Because a lot of people, the majority of people, focus their worth on everything outside of them while never focusing on what's inside of them. Let me say that again. A lot of people, the majority of people, they measure your worth by the outer exterior. This is why we live in like a very materialistic society. If and shout out to the people that know their worth and they not out here, they not out here trying to keep up with the Joneses or even concerned with all that. I do have my notes here and I just want to get right into it because my podcasts are only going to be about 30 minutes. So this podcast won't be long. It may be even shorter because I just want to get to the point. Now, to give a little bit of backstory, I did not know my worth. And in order for me to discover that I didn't know my worth, I had to deal with certain energies, certain mirrors. Because some people come into your life and they are just a mirror. They are showing you a reflection of something that's inside of you. So I was in like a situationship and I was already on my own journey, going through a lot. And this situationship just really helped my evolution. It helped me evolve. But I was already on the journey of evolving. So when I was in this situationship, at first it was all fun and games because I didn't care like that. But once I started going on my journey to evolution, the situationship I was in became more and more like a needle, a knife in my back. So I'm examining this, and it's like, a lot of people would blame that other person for why this other person is treating them this way. But me, I take accountability for everything in my life. I take responsibility for what's going on in my life because we've all heard the saying that nobody can do to you what you don't allow. So instead of me being mad at the person that I was allowing to treat me a certain way, I had to say, no, they only treating you this way because you're allowing it. You do not know your damn worth. And a lot of people don't want to be honest and they justify why they are in certain situations, but it all boils down to you don't know your worth and value. But that is a process and that is a journey and it takes some time. And people don't want to take that time to go on that journey to discover themselves. Everybody got their definition of love, but to me, you can't even love yourself until you go on a certain journey to get to know yourself and understand your own self and understand why you are the way you are, why you do what you do, all the factors that play a part into who you are today. So I did write down, a few notes over here about worth. But really, like, what I'm trying to say here is people will never know your worth if you don't. And, like I said earlier, I did want to make this about how men may never know women's worth. But listen, we live in a world with 8 billion or so people. And I'm a firm believer that everybody has their own unique journey. Everybody is fighting their own demons. Everybody is fighting, and everybody ain't doing this because a lot of people don't care. A lot of people just on auto. They just on autopilot, and everything is controlling them except them. So I understand and I see the world from a higher perspective. So I understand that everyone is on a different level. Everyone has a different level of consciousness. So I see the world very different. But anyway, back to the topic at hand, knowing your worth. Worth, the definition of worth is the equivalent in value to the sum or item specified. But that just means the value equivalent to that of someone or something under consideration, the level at which someone or something deserves to be valued or rated. And I don't know if that came out right. But, knowing your worth is also like tied into knowing your value. But what is your value? Because your value is something you have to build up. Your value stems from your foundation and how you see life. Your value is if you have integrity or if you don't. Your value is if you know how to, like what you stand on as a person. It's so many levels. And I had a podcast about its levels to this shit, and it didn't come out right at all. Like, it did not come out right. Listen, y'all, this is all things deep. And unfortunately, I think deeper than I can actually articulate how deep I think. So that is the reason for me filming these podcasts, for me to get more in my communication bag, like to be a better communicator. And this is all a part of self-development and me wanting to be a better person and me wanting to be able to express myself and communicate effectively. I'm not there yet. In order to know, in order to get to another level in life, you got to know exactly what level you on. You can't lie to yourself. See, a lot of people lie to themselves about where they truly are in life, what value they really truly hold in society, in humanity, in this world as a whole. So, just bear with me because really I think so deep, and I think, I just think on another level. However, I cannot articulate it in the way that I would like. But one day I will be able to articulate my thoughts the way that I want to, and the way they should come out, so other people can understand. A lot of people, I don't know what this podcast is gonna do, but I love to see people start from the bottom and be humble about their journey. And that's what I had to come to the conclusion of, because I love to see people come from the bottom. It's many people that I watch on this internet, and I watch them start from the bottom. A lot of people have to start from the bottom and build their way up. So that's the same with me and me communicating the way I want to. I understand that if this ain't something that I practice, if this ain't something that I'm good at, that don't mean I won't ever be good at it. But if I don't try, if I don't keep working at it, keep studying and doing research on how to be a better communicator, then I'll never get there. So people need to respect that you do have to start from, a lot of us, everybody starts from ground zero. So I'm saying that to say, you're not born knowing your worth. You're not born knowing your value. In fact, society makes us think that we ain't worth nothing. Not in that sense, see what I'm saying? I think deeper than, I think so deep, yet I'm not able to 100% get my thoughts out the way I want. But I'm not going to stop filming this podcast. I'm not going to stop trying my very best to help someone out there, because I'm only doing this podcast to help people think. All things deep is about self-development and self-love, self-worth, self-value, because everyone needs that to even be a better person for humanity, for the world. And I know everybody don't think like that, but listen, we all have nephews, nieces, children that, if this world continues to go on, we need to change some stuff. And that starts with you. It starts with you first. So in order for you to even say you love your children, your nieces, your nephews, your sisters, your brothers, in order for you to even say you love these people, then you should be somebody who wants to be a better person in the world. But hey, that's another topic for another day. I did write down a definition of value as well, because value goes hand in hand with knowing your worth. So, value is the regard that something is held to deserve the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. A person's principles or standards or behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. And see, that's a part of knowing your worth. That's a part of, like, that is really the basis of your worth. Let me read that last part again. A person's principles and standards, that is important. Like, your principles and your standards and what you stand on is tied into your worth. And a lot of people standing on some bullshit. Let's just keep it real. A lot of people are standing on some bullshit. So that was my whole purpose of filming this podcast. And I did want to reiterate again that I originally wanted this podcast to be about, will men ever know women's worth? But listen, I don't even care about all that. Women, you need to know your worth. Because guess what? Once I really discovered my worth, and I said I wasn't going to bring this up no more, really talk about this too much, even though I do want to do a video about it again, an update on my celibacy. I am 4 years, no sex, no intimacy, no relationship with a man, no situationship. Matter of fact, I haven't even text back and forth with a man, talked to a man on the phone in 4 years. And I'm not going to say that's just because I know my worth and I think I'm better or something. A lot of factors play into that. I'm not, what would I like to say? So, I'm not on here. I don't want a man bash. I don't want to bash nobody. But I do want to speak real, raw, and true. And a lot of men are just not up to par. And I know the men will watch this and say, well, a lot of women ain't up to par either. Duh. You know? That's why I don't even want to waste my time on that back and forth. But I need people to know their worth and know where they truly at in life. Because it's a lot of people out here that they just really think they outer appearance really proves or shows what they worth, and it doesn't. Because you can meet somebody who looks very, very good on the eye. They look like they keep themselves up. They dress clean. They might have on designer. They might have a nice car. They might have a nice home. But really, they self-worth and they self-esteem is very, very low. Very low. And you will see that. You will see that eventually when you talk to these type of people, because everything looks good on the outside, but once you get into a space with these people and you converse and you realize like, oh yeah. So a lot of people suffer from low self-esteem, whether they want to admit to it or not. I was at that place. I've always been told, ever since I was a child, I've always been told I was beautiful, I was pretty, sexy, whatever. I've even been told I was beautiful by women, not just men. So, okay, I'm beautiful, I look good. But guess what? That did not make my self-esteem go, that didn't make my self-esteem go through the roof. Because I always thought on a deeper level, like that's just in my DNA. I'm a Scorpio. Scorpios are deep. All Scorpios are not equal. So I don't really like when people bring up zodiac signs and they try to compare them. You have a whole birth chart. You have a whole makeup of what makes you you. And that's a journey that everybody should go on. But I'm very deep. I'm not superficial. So I've never been a person that really worried about, I like luxury, don't get me wrong. I like luxury. I like staying in luxury. I like living in luxury. I love luxury. I love aesthetics. I love these beautiful yellow roses. So I'm not saying I don't value that at all, but what's going on inside of me matters more. It matters more to me than what I look like. Because I was going to get my nails and stuff done. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to do it, so I'm going to shoot my podcast or whatever. That's just an example that none of that makes me having my nails done, hair done, the way I dress. They don't define who I am. But a lot of people can't see past that. Sometimes out here in society, they think, oh, well, she don't look like this or dress like that, so she can't be that. They'll never know your worth. And they always quick to say that men are visual, right? Men are visual. So sometimes if you don't look like the way a man wants you to look, he automatically writes you off. You could be the most valuable person he would have ever met in his life, but you don't have the aesthetics, or you don't have what he think you should have or how you should look, so he automatically writes you off. Good though, that's good. But I just said all that to say, like, I don't even want to be around people like that. I want to be around people who think at a higher level, people who think on a deeper level, to know that everybody worth starts within, and everybody don't value the same things. So you might value materialistic things, but I don't. So because there's a lot of people out here looking the part on the outside, and then when you get to know them, you'll be like, these, but I'm trying to help you go on that journey. Take a break off social media. And I don't even know where that came in at, but a lot of people, like, when I went through all what I went through of being in a situationship, because life is a journey and life is the best teacher. You got to understand that life is the best teacher. So you got to look back over the relationships that you accepted. Take the other person out the equation. Why the hell was you letting this person treat you the way they was treating you? Just ask yourself that, because I know it's a lot of people that's watching this who probably done been cheated on, disrespected, just wasn't treated properly in a relationship. And this don't even have to be a relationship with a significant other, like somebody you was with intimately in that way. It could be a friend, because that's another thing, how your friends see you and how they value you. So it's not all about a relationship in that sense. Even on your job, your self-worth comes out in every area of life. Like, your quality of life is directly tied into what you think you worth. And a lot of people don't know they worth, for one, so they settle. They settle for BS. And you gotta sit with yourself and really examine your own life to really go on this journey to knowing your worth. And I only had a few notes wrote down, so I'm just coming off the top of my head when I'm talking. Like, I already explained to y'all that I'm doing this podcast alone. I would like a partner. Me and my friend, we have a podcast, Scorpio Minds, but like I said, our schedules don't align where we can get in here and record like we want to. So I have to just get my thoughts out, and a podcast is a way I feel like I can get my thoughts out and hopefully help somebody out there to think, do you know your worth? Or whatever I'm talking about. Anything that I'm ever talking about on the podcast is to help people think and help people to go within. That's it. Like, it's so many podcasts out here, and I like looking at podcasts, not all of them, because some of them are just repetitive, and I do want to speak about old topics just to come from a different point of view. But I'm really, like, I'm tired of the same old. And it's podcasts out there that's truly unique. And they don't come from the same angle as everybody else. But man, shout out to anybody out there that's doing a podcast, because I salute everybody. I'm not, even though I feel like some people don't need a podcast, they need to go do some self-development. Hey, I'm not here trying to control nobody's life. I gotta control my own life. That's the only life I can control. So anyway, people need to just go on a journey to know themselves better. And it's boring. It's boring. My podcast might be boring to some people, but everything I speak is from the heart. Everything I speak is from experience. And I just want people to level up individually, because I understand that I'm a part of my mission of being here is to help raise the consciousness, to help raise the vibration of the planet, so we can get people thinking at a higher level, so we can get people thinking more deeper. And I follow a lot of people that do think deep, but I also follow people that I'm like, is this what these people wasting their time on all day, every day? Like, go do some self reflection, some self healing, just go on that self journey. It's boring. It's boring, but it's worth it. And that's why I know my worth. Now, going back to why I've been celibate for 4 years, It's because I know my worth, and my priority is not trying to get no man. Thank God. Thank God it's that I grew from that. Like, of being conditioned to think this is what life about. You just do this, get you a man. No. And I'm not against nobody who wants a man and who wants a family and the route they choose to go. But once you start knowing your worth and just open yourself up to so much more, you will know that life is so much more. And you open yourself up to the mission that the frequency of what God put you on and what you're supposed to be doing here on this earth. Because it's much bigger. It's much bigger. And I'm just proud of myself because I'm staying consistent with my podcast. Like, I gotta get the whole time schedule down packed, but I just gotta work on this little by little. I have so much I want to do, and I'm doing this all really by myself. So I'm just proud of myself because I don't have nobody here rooting me on. I don't have no assistant, nobody helping me, even though I will eventually get there, but you got to start from the bottom. And that's what I feel like. That's how I feel about people, and knowing they true worth and value. You got to start from ground zero, because some of us come from, and I'm not even going to say I had a bad or terrible childhood, or I came from just the most effed up circumstances, because I didn't. But I did go through a lot. And but I learned from it, and I let it make me better. A lot of people go through things, but it don't make them better. It really makes them worse, and they don't even see it. It makes them bitter. It makes them look at the world through a fucked up lens. And you got to reverse that. You got to let everything you go through in life make you better. You got to tweak that lens to see life in a different perspective. And that's why I am writing a book. And I'm almost finished, and I need to buckle down on getting it finished, because I have an opportunity to actually get that book out this year if I do what I need to do. But the book is basically about changing your perspective, because happiness, being happy in life, has nothing to do with the outside, like your outer experience, like what you material. It doesn't, because it's people that's millionaires and billionaires who are not happy. So it has nothing to do. And I know this for a fact because I done been my most happiest, and I'm not rich yet. Thank God I'm not living from check to check, but I'm not rich. But I've been so happy consistently. Happiness is my dominant frequency. So no matter what I go through, I always come back to my happy space, because that's just who I am. And that's just, life is too precious for me to be depressed and anger and bitter and all that. Like, no. I know my worth. So when you know your worth, it also goes back to you knowing your worth and being comfortable with yourself. Like, can you even sit with yourself? Can you have fun with yourself? Can you just be alone? See, society and its social media and just wanting to, we all fall victim to social media and just being tied up in a whole lot of other things. And we end up neglecting ourselves and neglecting what we really need to be focused on. But hey, everybody's values, what everybody stands for is different. So, and I know for a fact that everybody is not here to raise their vibration, unfortunately. And a lot of people don't even know what that is about vibration. But everybody is a frequency. Everybody is an energy. And depending on what you do with your energy depends on where your frequency is. So if you focus on low vibrational things, low vibrational entertainment, eat a whole bunch of low vibrational foods, you don't work on your spiritual self, you are 9 times out of 10, you're at a lower vibration. And I know for a fact that I'm on a higher vibration because I spend a lot of time alone. And that's what Yeshua, Jesus, or however you want to say that, that's what he was trying to explain to people. Like when he went in the wilderness for 40 days, this is how you raise your vibration. This is how you connect directly to the source, by being alone. I want to say this. If the only thing you know about God is what somebody else told you, you don't know God at all. You don't know God at all. If all you know about God is what somebody else told you, you do not know God at all. In order to truly know God, to truly connect with that source, you are that source, but you got to connect to it. You got to be in solitude. You got to do this thing alone for a while. For a while. You know, I go in hermit mode a lot. I can go ghost and disappear for a while. And be fine. Because guess what? When I disappear, I'm getting better at something. I'm getting better. My self-esteem, my confidence is going up. My self-worth and value is going up. Anytime I disappear, guess what? I'm learning something. I'm going within. I'm going deep. Like, and people need to value that. And people who don't value that, they don't know their worth. And they may never know their worth. So yeah, I don't want to make this podcast long. Of course, I do have a segment on my podcast of things I read on the internet or things I just saw on the internet. And like I said before, I did want to make this podcast about, will men ever know women's worth? But I don't even want to focus on that. I don't want to focus on that. I don't even want to spend my energy on that. I just need people to work on themselves individually. Really do some self-development. People really out here be talking like they really somewhere they ain't. People talk like they on a level that they're not on. And me being who I am, like, I see through stuff. So you can fool people. You can fool a lot of people. But me, I'm going to know if you really value yourself. If you do any self-development. If you do any self-reflection. I'm going to know that about you. So, but anyway, things I read on the internet, things I saw on the internet. One story that I saw on the internet that really disturbed me was, I know what everybody think, the Carlee Russell situation. That is just like, I do want to speak on that real quickly about Carlee Russell. Look, I don't know why she did what she did. I don't know if her accusations are true or false. Even though I know what's been put out there. Only she truly knows, and the people who orchestrated this with her know. But look, I don't want that to be a distraction, or I don't want that to be an excuse not to look out for somebody else who may be in that position. Because just because she came out and it may be a hoax, like she may have set this whole thing up, that's got something to do with her and her self-worth and wherever she is mentally, spiritually, emotionally within herself. That's why knowing yourself and going on that journey is so worth it, because there's a lot of people out here dealing with different issues, mental issues, and they not taking the time just to figure themselves out. So yeah, like I just hope the girl is sane, and I just pray for her mental health. Let's just say that. I just pray for her mental health. And another story I seen that was very disturbing is how a boyfriend stabbed his girlfriend, and they are from Nigeria. And it was on the Shade Room, and he basically was posting how he did it, and he's not a bad person. I'm not even gonna go into the dynamics of that, but he said he mistakenly. How do you mistakenly kill somebody? You know, like, really think about that. Like, so anyway, that girl's life is gone. His life is ruined. She was a influencer. So, you know, I just said all that to say is, like, really go within, do self-development, and know your worth. You just got to know your worth. He had said something about it being a toxic relationship. Like, if you know your worth, you wouldn't even be in a toxic relationship. So it's important to know your worth. It's important to do what the boring stuff to get away from the world and work on yourself and raise your vibration. Everybody want to joke and act like they know what that is. Act like they know. I'm going to take it back to Stormy when she told that girl she had a low vibrational plate. Vibration is real. Look it up. Google it. Every human being carries a certain frequency. And a lot of people are on a low frequency. You have to raise your frequency. You have to raise your consciousness. And I did have some notes about consciousness, because a lot of people are unconscious to a lot of things. And being unconscious means you're not aware. You're not aware of certain things. And you got to be introduced into new things, new ways of living, new ways to just, you got to be open-minded. But you got to also have discernment and be in tune with yourself to know what you really need to. Because I can learn from a lot of people, right? But I call myself a goddess because at the end of the day, I know that I have a relationship and I'm connected to the true source that gives me life. And all my answers come from within. And even though that source might send my answer through someone, I'm tapped in enough to recognize it. So I kind of lost myself in that. But like your frequency matters, like your vibration, your consciousness matter. And if you constantly focus on gossip, like I follow the shade room, but a lot of that stuff I don't pay attention to. But I'm such at a high level and I feel like I'm so unique. And I'm not saying this to say I'm better than nobody in there, but like I'm so unique in the way I'm set up, I can pay attention to stuff and it not influence me in that way anymore. Like I am my biggest influence. So, I might fall off my path a little bit sometimes here and there. That's normal. That's natural to fall off your path, but I get back on. I can't stay off my path long because I'm not set up that way to stay off my path long. But some people are because they haven't had any type of, they haven't held themselves accountable to making sure, okay, I'm here for a bigger purpose. I want to make the most out of my life. I want to connect to that source, connect directly to God. I'm just saying God to be simple. I want to connect directly to that so I can get the most out of life. So, everybody not on that. And I know that it's not even meant for everybody to even reach that realization. But, they'll probably never know your worth if you don't. Nobody will know your worth if you don't know your own worth. So that is the whole point of the podcast. You really got to get to know your worth. You got to know that your worth don't have nothing to do with your outer appearance. Because that is what a lot of people focus on, your outer appearance. And like I said, I'm not saying don't like nice things. I'm not saying don't have nice things. But at the end of the day, that don't justify your worth. And I was going to do an experiment. And I already know this worked because a lot of people that I have watched, they promote a certain lifestyle. And that automatically gets them followers. That automatically gets them a notoriety. That automatically, people put them on a pedestal just because of their material, what they have materially. But they can be a shitty person in real life. They can be a person with low self-esteem, but they look like they have money. They may have money and they have all these nice things. So people automatically see these people like they better than them. And that's just not the case. Like, I'm grateful that I know my value. I know my worth. And I'm worth a hell of a lot. So you will not catch me in any situation where I'm feeling like I'm devalued, I'm disrespected, or any of that. It is important for you to know your worth. And I always want to close my podcast out on a positive note. And I really didn't too much think about what I want to say positive. I don't know. I didn't pre-think what I was going to say. So, since we're talking about worth, just know that you are worthy. You are worthy of having the very best. You are worthy of experiencing the very best you can experience in this life. But guess what? You won't get any of it. You won't experience any of it if you don't know your worth and you don't know you're worthy. So I need you to go on that journey to know your worth. Build your worth up, because you can just say, I'm worthy, I know this and that, and you cannot be worth a penny. But see, building your value up is tied to your worth. So doing that self-development, making sure I'm not going to tell you how to be, but like, I'm a well-rounded person. I do things too. I'm a good person. I don't even like using the word good because you can be good sometimes and fucked up some other times. But I just know my frequency. I know my energy. I know I'm a good person because I spent enough time with myself. I've analyzed how I move, how I treat people. So I know my value. I know that when I come into people's life, I make it better. I don't make it worse. So that's how I know my worth, just to make it short. But yeah, make sure you go on that journey to know your worth. And I'm gonna close this podcast out. I don't know how long I've been on here, but yeah, I just really hope you take the time. And to those of you who know your worth, I mean, it's one of the best things ever. And that's how you attract better things to you. Because if you don't know your worth, then it's just certain things you're gonna put up with. It's just certain things you're gonna settle for. You might not go past a certain point because you do not know your worth. If you know that, okay, I know my worth, I'm worthy of having this, I'm worthy of experiencing this, I'm worthy of having this type of quality of people around me because I am that quality of person. Like, it's a whole journey that people just don't want to go on. They rather just focus on looking like they the part, but they not. You gotta do the boring stuff. You gotta read the books. You have to look at the boring podcasts because my podcast is gonna always drop some type of jewel for you. It's gonna always drop a jewel. So you gonna always learn something from me. I'm gonna always say something to make you think. Hopefully, that's the goal. But yeah, close this out saying I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning into my podcast. I got this whole setup. I'm hoping I'm still recording because if I'm not, I'm going to be pissed. But I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Come back next Thursday for another episode. Every Thursday, I will drop a podcast episode. I love y'all. Peace be with y'all.